My pleasure.
Bill McGurn, Georgia. Now, he's a former speechwriter, so he knows something about conveying an approach with the words you used. And on that front, Bill, if you don't mind, how do you think Dr. Ford is doing?
Yeah, you know, Neil, I just have to say I approach it very differently. And I think one of the problems is this is the kind of question we're asking. We're dissecting this. We're going to be talking about the color of Brett Kavanaugh's tie. What I think we should be talking about is evidence. We have an unsubstantiated charge. My bet is at the end of the day, we're going to have no more evidence supporting this charge than we do now. In fact, we have the 3 witnesses that she's named that refutes it. And I think we're getting to all this, credibility on TV. If that were the test, Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby were both pretty good on TV. Judge Bork, who is a tremendous jurist, was lousy on TV. I don't think that should be the standard. I think the standard should be evidence. Are we going to deny a man a job and smear him on the basis of a 35-year-old allegation with no other evidence? I'm old-fashioned. If you're going to destroy a man and you're going to humiliate his family on national TV, I think you need some evidence.
Fully agree with that, but we also live in a world where appearances count for a great deal, and there was fear. I remember talking to some Democratic senators that, would she be Anita Hill-like, make a credible case, which is a bit ironic because despite Anita Hill's allegations at the time against Clarence Thomas, he still became a Supreme Court justice.
Look, this is
but
another.
I'm only asking you here is that leaving aside that because getting the exact details in the surgical approach that this prosecutor Rachel Mitchell is using, she would have to take the same approach with the judge. So one could argue that when the judge gets up there and will try to deny a negative, he is kind of in a no-win situation, not only with her, but with Democratic senators who will no doubt chomp at the bit to sort of, add more dirt in the eye.
Yeah, look, this is a show trial. All the Democratic senators on that committee have made up their minds. I think most of the Democrats in the Senate have made up their minds. And as you say, I couldn't agree more. What can Brett Kavanaugh do to clear his name, to tell his children, I'm not an attempted rapist? He has to prove a negative. And he hasn't.
Bill, do you think that will be the effect, too, with the senators up for re-election in states that the president went big, that some have argued they've got cover now to vote no? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we don't know how that's going to play out. Look, again, you say we live in a world where appearances matter. We certainly do. But we don't have to like it, and we don't have to indulge it. And I think to get back, let's get back to evidence. I mean, this week has seen insane charges of gang rape at Georgetown Prep. It's just with no evidence at all. Is that going to be the standard? Because if we go there, I think that is a really bad place for this country to be. Again, old-fashioned, I want to see evidence. No one's talking about evidence, or no one's talking about the lack thereof. The Republican lawyer is trying to make that case to point to inconsistencies. But it seems to me that if a man is going to be smeared, there ought to be some evidence to corroborate it.
And there also should be passion, right, Bill? I mean, you're a great speechwriter, great writer, period. I mean, you know the power of words, but you also know the power of those words coming from someone's heart. And Judge Kavanaugh, brilliant guy. No one is doubting that. Number one in his class at Yale. I could go on and on. Guy's a genius. But is he all IQ in this approach and not enough EQ? Is he going to do, or do you suspect he is capable of doing, the Clarence Thomas back in your face kind of thing?
I hope he does some version of that. I work with him closely at the White House. He's not my best friend, but I know who he is. I used to follow his family on Facebook, with their children and so forth. I hope he thinks of those 2 girls before he goes out there. But again, should a man be punished should that be the hanging offense that you're not the best on TV, you're not the best actor, you're not as good as Bill Clinton at biting your lip and looking sad? I think that's a terrible standard. And to go back to Anita Hill, the reason Clarence Thomas got confirmed is people didn't believe her. I think the polls show it was a pretty hefty margin. And if you remember in the course of those hearings, the FBI agents who interviewed her even submitted an affidavit saying that what she told them in the interview was at odds with what she said in her testimony.
Oh, yeah, and that was a very big point of departure with some of the Republican senators at that time who were in the minority on that committee. And Republicans were in the minority in the Senate at that time. And, of course, Clarence Thomas still eked through and became a Supreme Court justice. Thank you very, very much, Bill.
Thanks, Neil.